Hello everyone and welcome back to Australia here today for the GPM1 race, and on pole position it is Colin Turkington with Charles Rainford alongside him, his teammate, a all West Sussex Racing front row lockout in third spot. That's Charles Leclerc ahead of one of our free GPM2 drivers to qualify through into this race, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Next up behind them we have got Lando Norris just ahead of Lewis Hamilton, with Carlos Sainz in 7th position just ahead of the Repsol Peugeot driver of Yuki Tsunoda. 9th place and 10th place, in fact the whole 5th row, is dedicated to two GPM2 qualifiers. Verstappen just ahead of Fernando Alonso. In 11th spot we have Nico Hulkenberg with the Fingal Motorsport driver Pierre Gasly lining up in 12th spot. Row number 7 is Alpanfera Autosport with Pascal Wehrlein ahead of Oscar Piastri there in that battle of special Australian livery on their cars for this one. Scott McLaughlin in the second of the Trackhouse cars lines up just ahead of Kyle Kirkwood. Two now IndyCar drivers lining up there, with Carson Hocevar in 17th spot, hoping to perhaps cause less drama than he did in pre-season testing. Sergio Perez for Brawn GP just behind him, and rounding out the back of the grid it is George Russell, who just like in pre-season testing crashed in qualifying, although this time starts only in 19th spot, so not quite as many cars he needs to pass. The 5 red lights are coming on then, and we are racing, and we're underway for the season opening GPM1 race down under in Australia. Rainford trying to hold his teammate tight through turn number 1, but he can't quite take the lead away from him. Charles Leclerc immediately on the attack here. We saw the pole sitter in a GPM2 drop back in the opening stages of the race. Will we see the same here? So far Turkington holds on, but it's Rainford looking for the inside line as they head up into Griffin's Bend, and it is Rainford who passes his teammate on lap number 1. Turkington drops back to second, and could that be third? Yes, it's Leclerc around the outside. Huge move from the Monegasque driver. He's up into second position for Trackhouse. Turkington the pole sitter, just like Antonelli in the GPM2 race yesterday, dropping back to third place. Antonelli's lost a couple of spots again like yesterday, this time dropping back into 6th position. Norris up into 4th, Antonelli down into 6th spot behind Lewis Hamilton as well. Now Tsunoda into 7th ahead of Gasly. Sainz has lost a couple of positions there as Alonso just clings on to the back end of the top 10. Fernando Alonso was our winner in GPM2, but he's racing the driver that finished second at the moment, as that's Verstappen sending one to the inside of his old teammate Carlos Sainz. Wheel to wheel down the hill, but he gets into the barriers, as does Fernando Alonso. Both of those drivers banging into the wall as they came out of the S's there. Hopefully no damage for either driver. Hocevar up into 11th position, a huge start from Hurricane Hocevar, up 6 positions already in this race. Perez has got in between the two Panfera Autosport cars, as Alonso looking to put aside any worries that he may have damage as he comes back past Carson Hocevar into the chase and up into the top 11 once more there. Antonelli on the back of Hamilton still, but at the head of the field Charles Rainford is making a break for it here. He wants to take this season opening victory. He knows how important it could well be, as he leads lap number 1, and he's got a pretty good margin already over Charles Leclerc, trying to cover off any potential repeat of what we saw yesterday. He leads already by a good distance. Behind them you've got Yuki Tsunoda on the back of Lewis Hamilton for 5th position through down the inside for the Japanese driver. For the French team, he gets that manoeuvre done there. Good stuff for him, gaining quite a few positions early on in this one already, as Carlos Sainz running in the 8th position at the moment. Verstappen down in 12th, Antonelli in 11th. Lots of drivers, in fact a total of 9 drivers picking up damage on that opening lap. Almost half the field in trouble there. That's why Antonelli's dropped back outside of the top 10, as has Verstappen. McLaughlin another one in that mix, so a real gap in the field already in this one. Turkington running in 3rd spot, but Norris right on his tail as well. Here Leclerc in 2nd at the moment, but it looks as though he might be lacking a little bit of that outright power that we have seen from West Sussex Racing, the most powerful car in the field, with that BMW factory engine in the back of it. It's Turkington up into 2nd position, and it's a West Sussex Racing 1-2 here as we come round to complete lap number 2 of 16. Leclerc in 3rd position now has Norris right on his tail, and now can he settle in, or is Lando Norris going to make the move for that final step on the podium? It looks like it's going to be the latter as Norris charges through, and the Nexus Racing car moves in to third position. Can he put up a challenge here to the top two drivers? The top two on Goodyear tyres, better for qualifying, not so great in race pace. Nexus Racing, Lando Norris on those Michelin tyres, in theory, should have stronger race pace. Will that be enough, though, to get up into the mix with those top two? We'll have to wait and see, as Lewis Hamilton's coming under pressure here from Pierre Gasly. 6th and 7th position changing hands here. Pierre Gasly through up the order there. Another BMW powered car. Not quite the factory engine that West Sussex Racing have, but still a decent power unit to have behind you. Gasly continuing to put it to good use here, as now he's on the back of Yuki Tsunoda as they come through the chase. Is he going to make a move to the inside here? Going to have a look. Tsunoda squeezes him to the apex there. Preferred line for Tsunoda, but Gasly gets a brilliant exit and up into 5th position there for the Fingal Motorsport driver past the Repsol Peugeot. Tsunoda having a little look into the final corner, but he can't quite make anything stick there. Carlos Sainz dropped back a little bit off the start, now trying to make his way forward once more. Hamilton is the one that he's passing here for 7th position. Carlos Sainz, of course, was our winner from pre-season testing. Not looking like it's going to be a repeat for him, and Fast Formula Racing currently up into 7th position, but still a lot of ground between him and the leading drivers as things stand. Leclerc continuing to struggle, it seems, here in 4th position at the moment, dropping back at quite a speed to the leader trio. Pierre Gasly now on his tail, Yuki Tsunoda in this battle as well as they come down the hill. Tsunoda making a bold move, looking for a pass here. This is going to get aggressive as they come down the hill, and through goes Yuki Tsunoda, but he's into the wall and into Leclerc. Leclerc bounces off of him and into another barrier there. Leclerc down into 6th position, Tsunoda up into 4th spot. An incredibly aggressive manoeuvre there. Not for the first time we've seen that from a Repsol Peugeot driver, and that could well be trouble for Charles Leclerc, who may well have to come into the pit lane after that one for repairs. Alonso, meanwhile, up into 8th position. Doesn't look like he is going to sweep both races here today over this weekend. Alonso in 8th spot at the moment, as Charles Leclerc is going to peel off into the pit lane and down out of the points, quite likely for Charles Leclerc. Although all those drivers picking up damage in the early laps of this race could well be an opportunity for him still to cling on to a top 10 position. Hamilton through into 8th position there. Alonso now up into 7th spot. Sainz into 6th. Verstappen currently running in that 10th position, just ahead of Nico Hülkenberg in the second of the Fast Formula Racing cars. Will Charles Leclerc come out ahead or behind this battle? That is the question. A bit of a gap forming in this part of the field after the lap 1 dramas, and Leclerc will come out of the pit lane ahead of Verstappen, so Leclerc holds on to 9th position for now and still looking good for some points to take home from today, as Carlos Sainz now on the back of Pierre Gasly as we enter the second half of this race, using that BMW versus BMW power. In fact, both of these drivers with a huge amount of power behind them. Sainz gets the move done using that slipstream, then lower downforce as well, perhaps on that Fast Formula Racing entry. And now we see the battle at the back end of the points. There's contact there. Leclerc perhaps into the back of his current real-life teammate Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton in the Brawn GP down to 8th spot at the moment. Leclerc trying to demote him down. Another one here as they run up the hill towards Griffin's Bend. Hülkenberg in behind the pair of them, looking to try and get involved in this battle, but Leclerc gets it done nice and easily on the straight. Hamilton drops back a spot there. Pierre Gasly, meanwhile, looking to try and repass the Spaniard of Carlos Sainz as they head towards the chase here. Again, I mentioned both of these teams with the same engine in the back of them. Gasly just using pure slipstream here as he gets alongside into the chase, just barely an overlap as they head into the braking zone. Can he carry the momentum all the way around the outside? Yes, he can. Through goes Pierre Gasly. A bit of a squeeze on Sainz on corner exit, and he is up back into 5th position. Could it be 10 points for car number 10 to start the season? Certainly looks like that could well be the way things go here, as out front it has been dominance, just like in GPM2. The driver who got out front early has been able to run away with it, as it is Charles Rainford for West Sussex Racing, a car which looks incredibly planted and incredibly powerful through the chase for the final time. Charles Rainford on course here to be the first ever GPM1 race winner here in GP Manager. Towards the final corner now for the final time, it's Murray's corner, and it's going to be Charles Rainford for West Sussex Racing. factory BMW power. It's going to power them to the first ever victory here. The Australian Grand Prix goes to Charles Rainford, and it's a 1-2 for West Sussex Racing. P3 is going to just about go to Lando Norris, who clings on to the podium position, but in 4th place, another similarly Nexus-powered car. It's Yuki Tsunoda in the 4th spot, just missing out on that podium position. But what a race from West Sussex Racing, dominant here today at Mount Panorama. But we've got a battle going on further down the order on the final lap of the race. George Russell started dead last. He picked up damage on lap number 1, had to make a pit stop, and yet, just like in pre-season testing, another incredible race from the Briton. Not going to have too much to show for it, but he does make the pass for 9th position and solidifies his place inside the top 10. Hulkenberg looks as though he will just cling on to that one. Hamilton dropping down into 11th in the end, just misses out for Brawn GP, so that means no points for that team as out of the final corner they come. It is going to be Leclerc in 8th, just ahead of Russell in 9th, 10th. The final point goes to Nico Hulkenberg. Another dominant race. They're not quite as dominant as what we saw in GPM2. Rainford takes victory by 6.5 seconds over his teammate Colin Turkington. In 3rd spot, Lando Norris 16.5 seconds off of the win with Tsunoda right on his tail at the end there. Going to be interesting to see their 2 Nexus-powered cars in 3rd and 4th. As the season develops, Nexus will only upgrade their car, whereas Repsol Peugeot will be stuck with the one they started the season. So could we see that gap spread? Could be important that Repsol Peugeot get as many points as possible early in the season. Same goes for other customer teams like Fingal Motorsport and Fast Formula Racing. Trackhouse, another team with points from this season opener. Pierre Gasly in 5th position, Carlos Sainz in 6th for Fast Formula Racing. The GPM2 winner, Fernando Alonso, comes home in 7th in the GPM1 race. That gives us a rough idea of where the 2 series line up so far. Leclerc in 8th position with the final 2 points paying positions going to George Russell and Nico Hulkenberg. We saw that battle decided on the very final lap. Lewis Hamilton just misses out on points here today. Max Verstappen and Antonelli, 2 other drivers who came up from GPM2 for this weekend, they come home in 12th and 13th. No GPM1 points for them, but crucially, financially, for that team, it'll be useful to get those P12 and P13 rewards rather than it being just P20 and P21 or whatever it may well have been from GPM2. Behind them, Carson Hocevar in 14th spot, 10 spots behind his teammate Kyle Kirkwood in 5th, likewise 10 spots behind his teammate McLaughlin in 16th spot, Piastri 17th, 18th to Sergio Perez, and Pascal Wehrlein a lap down comes home last in the season opening Australia Grand Prix, and sadly for Panfera Autosport, it seems that their special livery just for this one did not bring them any good luck as both drivers finish outside the top 16 there. Disappointing start to the season for the team that were seeded 6th out of pre-season testing. That's all from us, though, from the season opener here in GP Manager. I do hope you all enjoyed it. It was an exciting one. Sadly, the battle for victory in both races couldn't quite be as exciting as we hoped, both of which decided in the early laps of the race, but the rest of the field were incredibly close and battles throughout the race as a whole. Hopefully that has left you wanting more, so in 2 weeks' time you will join us again for the second round of the GP Manager season, when we are going to be visiting the Japanese Grand Prix held at Autopolis International Racing Course. Hopefully we have more exciting action for you then, but until then, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.